Hey there, in this video we'll be seeing how to properly copy your JavaScript objects and arrays. Now to test out snippets in JavaScript, I prefer opening a blank page in Chrome, and you can do the same by just typing about blank as the address in the address bar, and then open the developer tools using right click inspect or just using the keyboard shortcut of Ctrl+Shift+I. Now this opens your console where you can type JavaScript code and see the output right away. Now we all know that JavaScript is a dynamically typed language and the type for your variable is assigned during the runtime. So when I say let name equals to John, and then if I check the type of name, it will say that it's a string. Now string is a primitive data type in JavaScript. Other examples are number, boolean, undefined, and symbol. Now to create a copy of a primitive data type variable, you just need to assign it to a different variable name. So if I say let name copy equals to name, and if I just try to see the value of name copy, you'll notice that it works just fine. And if I change the name copy variable and assign a new value to it, the original variable stays intact. But if you try to do something similar with JavaScript objects, you'll notice a completely different behavior. So let me create a new JavaScript object and we'll see how the assignment of one object variable to another variable works. So let me just clear the console and I'll create a new object. Now this object person has three keys. The first two, first name and last name, have their values as primitive data type of string, and the third one, address, is another object. Now if I try to create a copy of this object using assignment, just notice how it goes. So let me say person copy is person. Now if I try to see the values of person copy, you'll notice that it appears as if it actually created a copy. So it has all the values that the original person object has. And if I try to see the person object, you'll notice the similar values. Now if I try to change the first name in the person copy object, just notice what happens. So I'll say person copy dot first name is, let's say, Jane. Now if you see the first name value in the person copy object has changed to Jane. But if you try to log the person object, you'll see that the value there has changed too. Now this happens because when you're assigning an object to another variable, it only passes the reference of that object and doesn't create a true copy. And this is also true for arrays. Now this happens because objects and arrays are reference data types. And when you try to assign them to a new variable, only the reference gets passed. Unlike primitive data types, where you assign a variable to a new variable, an actual copy gets created. Now I'll also quickly show you that this is the same behavior with arrays. So let me just clear the console. I'll create a new array called ARR. And it's just a simple array of numbers. Now if I try to create a copy called ARR copy and assign the value ARR to it, and then I'll push a new number into ARR copy. Now if I log the actual ARR object, you'll see that this also has the item 4 appended to it. Now to create true copies of reference data types like arrays and objects, you use something called the spread operator. Let's see how that works. Now the syntax is really simple. If I need to create a true copy of the ARR array, I'll just say that let ARR copy true. I'll open square brackets, type in 3 dots, and then the name of the array, which is ARR, and then close the square brackets. Now what it does, it creates a true copy. Now if I log copy true, you'll see that it has 4 elements just like the array ARR. But if I try to push a new element, let's say the value 5, into the copy true variable, it only changes the copy true And if I try to log the actual array ARR, it still has the original 4 elements and nothing really gets appended to it. Now another way to create a copy of an array is to use the array slice method. So I can just say that arr_cpy is arr.slice, and you don't need to pass any parameters to the slice method. Now the slice method expects a start and the end index values to be passed as parameters, but if you don't pass anything, what it does, it creates a true copy of the array arr. Now if I say arr_cpy.pop, it should delete its last element. So let me just log arr_cpy. You'll see it only has the size of 3 and the actual array is still intact and all the 4 original elements are still there. Now let's see how we can create true copies when it comes to objects. So we'll take the example of a same person object that we created in the beginning of this video, and we'll create a new variable called person_cpy, and then again use the spread operator. Now the way the spread operator syntax works with objects is that you have to give curly braces instead of the square brackets that you gave to create the copy of arrays. So I'll open curly braces, again 3 dots, the name of the actual object which is person, and then I'll close the curly braces. Now if I log person_cpy, you'll see that it is a copy of the person object with all the 3 keys. Now let me add a new key to this person_cpy object. I'll say person_cpy.age and let's give the age 30. Now if I log the object again, you'll see the age key has been added to this object. Now if I log the actual person object, the age key is missing from here. Now as you saw, using the spread operator, we were able to create a true copy of the object. Now you can also create a true copy using the object method assign. So I'll say person1, I'm just really running out of variable names, is equal to object.assign. And now the object prototype method assign can take 2 or more than 2 parameters. The first one being the target, and then the trailing parameters are just the objects from which you want to copy the key values to the target object. So to create a completely new object, I can keep the target as an empty object, and as my source, I'll just pass the person object. This is it. Now if you see, the person1 object also has the same values as the original person object. And now again for person1, let's try to do some operation. So I'll say delete person1 dot first name, let's say. And now if we log the variable person1, you'll see that the first name key has gone, but the actual person object still has the first name. So in this video, we saw how you can create true copies for objects and arrays using the spread operator and their respective class methods. But still, there is a catch in all of these methods. What these methods and the spread operator creates is called a shallow copy. And we'll see in the next video what shallow copy means. And we'll see the concept of a deep copy and how to create a deep copy.